Over 300 Maoists surrendered in the past 24 hours, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi said on the Friday night at the NDTV World Summit 2025, highlighting that his government's crackdown on the domestic terror groups and his pain at the bloodshed and the violence of the fighting had caused. Also, in the last 50 to 55 years, thousands were killed by the Maoist terrorists. These Naxals would not allow the schools or the hospitals to be built and run. They would not let the doctors enter the clinics. They would bomb the institutions. Maoist terrorism was an injustice to the young people, he also said. Also, I used to feel agitated. This is the first time I am expressing my pain to the world. Also, he said before a gathering that included the Harinini Amarsurinnya, that was the president and the prime minister of the Sri Lanka, and also the former prime ministers of Australia and the United Kingdom, Tony Abbott and the Rishi Sunak. This is why my government, that is the Prime Minister said, has taken particular effort to reach out to these wayward youth and bring them back into the mainstream. Today, the country is seeing the result of these efforts, the Prime Minister said, referring to the mass surrenders this week. Now 303 Naxals have surrendered. These were not normal people. They were carrying bounties on their heads and a huge cache of the arms that was also recovered from them, he said. As a result of those mass surrenders, he said the government has succeeded in reducing the number of Naxal-affected districts across the country to just 11 from the earlier 125 a decade ago. The Prime Minister comments on the Maoist terrorism followed the surrender of 170 on the Thursday alone in the Chhattisgarh, a region of the country that has historically struggled with the Maoist terrorism and threats. Earlier, the headlines were about vehicles blown up in the Bastar, a particularly badly affected district, and the security personnel killed. Today, youth there are organizing Bastar Olympics. Also, this is a big change, the Prime Minister said. Now they will be able to celebrate Diwali. Bastar district witnessed a potential watershed moment in the fight against the Maoist terror this week after more than 150 Maoists led by the Central Committee member Rupesh alias the Satish Khofa laid down their arms and also joined the mainstream, although the Khofa told the Millennium that his focus is less on the surrendering and also more on the changing the way of the struggle for the people. Also, the Prime Minister accused previous governments of allowing what he called an ecosystem of the urban Naxals to suppress the discussions on the Maoist violence. During the Congress regime, the ecosystem of the urban Naxals was so dominant that no incident of the Maoist terrorism would reach the people of the country. Also, a very large censorship mechanism was in operation. Those who flourished were under the Congress rule were the one who captured institutions and called themselves urban Naxals, worked to draw a curtain over the Maoist terror, the Prime Minister Modi said. Also recalling the plight of the victims of the Maoist attack, a group of whom who recently also visited Delhi, Prime Minister Modi said some had lost their leg, some lost their hand, some their eye. They stayed in Delhi for 7 days, begging with a folded hand to tell their story to the people of India. They also held a press conference, but none of you saw or heard it. Taking a sharp swipe at the Congress, the Prime Minister Modi said no one noticed them. During Congress rule, the discussion on this ecosystem was completely suppressed. Ending his address on an emotional note, the Prime Minister Modi said that the regions long trapped in the fear would now celebrate their first peaceful Diwali in decades.